In this video, we're talking about the real reason your marketing gets ignored. And it's not your tactics, it's not your channels, it's not even your budget. I see it everywhere. Websites that look polished, LinkedIn posts that sound intelligent, videos that clearly took hours to produce. And yet, nothing happens. No engagement, no response, no momentum. If you're responsible for marketing inside an established business, the question forming in your mind right now is probably this: why does so much effort produce so little movement? Because most marketing has too much decoration. The companies that break through build their marketing like architecture. And once you see this, your job gets much easier. I think of it like one of those magic eye pictures from the 1990s, the 2D artwork that looked like visual static, colorful, interesting to look at, and stare at them long enough, and a 3D image hiding in the static reveals itself. Once that 3D image reveals itself, you stop seeing the static. Marketing is the same. Most people only see the static. I call this structural silence. The hidden 3D image is your real message, so don't hide it. Once you understand the mistakes that cause structural silence, you'll start noticing it in almost every piece of marketing you encounter. In this video, I'll show you exactly how it works and how to fix it. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Most marketing today is structurally unsound. It's missing what I refer to as the load-bearing beam. The ideal customer is identified, a message exists, but it carries no narrative weight for that customer. You see it everywhere with copy like helping businesses scale, delivering innovative solutions, driving results through strategy, and any of the other Claude and GPT favorites. All technically accurate and completely forgettable. And there's a very specific reason for that. Nothing is at stake. When nothing is at stake, the brain has nothing to hold on to. And this is where marketers make their first structural mistake. They assume attention comes from information, but attention actually comes from tension. Let me show you what that looks like with a B2B example. Think about the payment processing industry around 2010. Every company in that space sounded the same. Seamless payment solutions for your business, reliable, secure transactions at scale, the trusted payment platform for growing companies. Again, technically accurate, completely forgettable. Then Stripe launched a homepage that said 7 words: web and mobile payments built for developers. That's it. No mission statement, no feature list, no stock photo of a smiling team. Just a precise description of a problem for a specific persona. Stripe understood something their competitors didn't. The goal wasn't to appeal to everyone. It was to be immediately, unmistakably relevant to someone specific. And they removed all the static to reveal this message. While information informs, tension creates movement. It creates the psychological friction required to abandon the status quo. So instead of focusing on what the product does, strong marketing focuses on the conflict the buyer is facing, the gap between where they are and a missed opportunity that's costing them margin or growth. And this is a time-tested technique. Here's one of my all-time favorite examples, the Volkswagen Beetle. In the 1960s, car ads were huge, colorful, and packed with information about horsepower and chrome. Then Volkswagen did something completely different. They showed their tiny car on a blank white page with one headline: Lemon, which of course is slang for a broken car. But the body copy revealed a twist. The car in the ad had been rejected over a tiny cosmetic flaw most people would never notice. What looked like a weakness became proof of obsessive quality control. That tension pulled the reader into the story. So that's the first structural pillar. But that's not enough to keep your marketing from falling over. And even in companies that understand this pillar, many will still design their marketing in a way that smooths out the tension. Most marketers omit the most important element of a story: conflict. Now, when people hear that word, they usually think it means drama, arguments, fighting, friction. But in this context, it simply means something is at risk. You force the buyer to make a choice, and only conflict forces that choice. Without it, a story collapses. And the exact same thing happens in marketing. Without conflict, your buyer doesn't have to decide anything. We've all seen this. A company explains what they do, and you still don't care, because explanation doesn't create energy. Conflict does. No conflict, no decision. Conflict is what raises the stakes. It answers the question, what happens if I don't act? Look at the difference between these two messages. Improve your sales process versus most sales teams lose deals in the first 2 minutes of a conversation because their messaging creates confusion. Same category, completely different stakes. The first one informs, the second one forces you to pay attention. But here's the catch. You can introduce tension, you can create conflict, and your marketing still won't work unless you apply this third pillar. Even with tension, even with conflict, marketing will still fail if it's not detailed enough to matter. I call this the specificity collapse. And it happens when the message is too vague to carry weight. When the brain can't visualize something in detail, it ignores it. Specificity turns tension into gravity. For example, companies struggle with marketing versus most companies spend thousands creating content every month, yet none of it produces a single sales conversion. Now suddenly the viewer can see the problem. They can feel the friction. The strongest marketing doesn't just describe a problem, it locates the pressure point. I just lived a great example of this pillar. It clicked for me in a way I couldn't ignore. I purchased a subscription for an AI thumbnail generator. After watching a single ad, I had never heard of this company before, and after one ad, I was a customer. I didn't do any research, any competitive comparisons. I just clicked to buy. And I never do that. Quite literally, I never do that. That realization forced me to dissect the copy to figure out how it worked so well. Went like this. So you're a YouTuber. You spend days scripting, weeks filming and editing. You finally upload, and then 53 views. Not because your content is bad, but because nobody clicked. On YouTube, no clicks equals no views. And it went on from there, but honestly, it didn't need to. I was already in. So let's unpack this. So you're a YouTuber. Yes, I am. And I've been wanting to level up my thumbnails. Nailed the ideal customer profile. Clean and simple. You spend days scripting, weeks filming and editing. Yes, I do. And now I'm feeling some tension. You finally upload. And 53 views. Yes, that happens. There's the conflict, and I can visualize it. No clicks equals no views. Hook, line, and sinker. A very specific consequence. And I'm feeling the weight. I have no idea if the product is any good. I haven't even used it yet. But just grading it on its marketing message, I have to give it an A+. They demonstrated they understood my problem before they ever talked about their solution. That's specificity with weight. And it converted for them. But this leads to something even bigger. Specificity might give a message weight, but structure determines whether that weight moves someone toward an ending. Which brings me to the fourth pillar. And this is the one that brings it all to life. A building doesn't stand because the walls look nice. It stands because the structure distributes weight correctly. Marketing works the same way. While most content today is built like a picture to hang on the wall, effective marketing is built like narrative architecture. Every idea supports the next. Every section creates tension. Every insight raises the stakes. Here's what the entire framework looks like in practice. The message begins with a specific recognizable problem, then introduces tension, then adds specificity, then delivers a structural insight that reframes everything. At that point, buyers aren't just consuming content, they're experiencing resolution. And that feeling is what creates authority. Okay, let's get tactical now. Here are 2 tests you can run today. First, take any paragraph of your marketing copy and remove 30% of the words. Almost every time, clarity increases, authority increases, confidence increases, because the strongest ideas stop competing with unnecessary language. And it's the fastest way to hear your own message clearly. Why 30%? I've found 30% is typically where decoration ends and argument begins. But 30% is the floor. Your ceiling might be 40%, 50%, whatever is required to cut the decoration. Don't engineer your editing process just to make the math work. 30% is a guide, not a rule. But how do you know which 30% to cut? Ask yourself 3 questions about every sentence. First, does the sentence increase tension? If it doesn't raise the stakes or move the buyer toward a resolution, it's decoration. Cut it. The sentences that survive are the ones doing structural work. Second, can someone who knows nothing about your business read this sentence and immediately understand it without you in the room to explain it? If the answer is no, cut every word that requires explanation. What remains is your real message. And third, is this sentence load-bearing? Does the next idea depend on it? If you removed it and nothing collapsed, it's decoration. Cut it. Any one of these will work. The best editors use all 3. Second test. Go to your homepage right now and ask, within 5 seconds, can a new visitor answer 3 questions? What do you do? Who is it for? What outcome does it create? When that precision exists, trust forms fast. When it doesn't, attention disappears. One of my favorite examples of this test done right is Calendly.com. They make it immediately clear upon landing on the site what they do, schedule and book meetings, who it's for professionals, as well as why the solution matters. Reduce no-shows and stay on track. This hero section is a masterclass for the 4 pillars of narrative architecture. There's tension, there's conflict, there's specificity, there's no decoration. There's even social proof and a short demo of the product, all in just 26 words. When marketing has real structure, 3 things shift immediately. First, attention lasts longer because the brain is following a narrative path. There's somewhere to go. Second, ideas become memorable because they're organized around rising tension and resolution. And third, authority emerges naturally. You don't have to claim expertise. The structure demonstrates it for you. I call this structural authority. And it's what separates marketing that generates confidence from marketing that just generates awareness. And confidence shows up through structure, not volume or variety. Okay, let's zoom out. When marketing feels ignored, the instinct is to push harder. More content, more ads, more posts. But that's almost never the best solution. You're just spending more time and more budget to send a flawed message to more people who will ignore it. The real solution is fixing the structure. And here's what makes that worth believing. This isn't a new idea. Storytellers have known this since before it was written down. Tension, conflict, resolution. That structure has held human attention for thousands of years. It's true for cave paintings, for novels, for films, even for jokes. To say it's time-tested is an understatement. The marketers who capture buyer attention aren't reinventing communication. They're returning to it. Build your message around tension, not information. Make that tension specific enough to visualize. Engineer the sequence so every idea earns the next. Cut 30% or more. Marketing isn't persuasion or influence first. Those things are byproducts of sound story architecture. When the structure is right, performance follows. If this resonates with you and you want to go deeper, like and subscribe because there's a lot more coming. I'll see you in the next one.